Hello, welcome to this video. In this video I am going to explain how to export the data from Excel workbook to SQL database by using VBA macros. Click on Developer tab, click on Visual Basic. Before executing the macro, click on Tools, click on References. User has to import Microsoft ActiveX Data Objects 6.1 library. Click on OK. After that, I am going to create a database by using SQL Query Analyzer. Here I am going to create a database. Press F5. Now application created the database successfully, which is named as Excel to SQL. These two are prerequisites before executing the macro. Next I am going to show the data file. Already I created a folder on my desktop. This folder consists of two workbooks. First one is data file and second one is coding workbook. So I am opening the data file. In this data file I have a tab which is named as data sheet. This is the structure of the data, which is having 5 columns: item, quantity, price and zone. Now I am going to export the data from Excel workbook to SQL database. I am closing the data file. Press F8 to start the debugging. First I defined a variable which is named as data file. In that variable I am going to save the data file workbook path. For this I am using getOpenFileName method of application object. From the generated dialog box, I am selecting the data file. Here we can find complete workbook path saved into this variable. Next I am going to open the data file. For this purpose, I am using open method of workbooks object. Here we can find data file opened. Next I defined a variable which is named as input workbook and object data type is workbook. Next I mentioned as set input workbook is equal to active workbook. For this variable I consider the active workbook which is named as data file. Next I defined one more variable which is named as input sh and object data type is worksheet. Set input sh is equal to I considered data sheet in the input workbook. Next I am going to establish the connection from Excel workbook to SQL database. For this purpose I created a function which is named as establish connection. Here I defined a variable which is named as connection string and data type is string. Next I am going to define the connection string. Provider is equal to SQL OLEDB and data source is equal to Pawan Kumar PC. This is the server name. Here we can find the server name. This name I provided in the macro. Thereafter I defined initial catalog which is a database name. Already I created the database here. I copied the same name into that macro. Integrated security denotes Windows authentication, hence I mentioned SSPI. Next I am opening the connection by using open method of connection object. After that I am going to create sales table by using SQL syntax create table, table name, and these are the field names followed by data types. For this purpose I am using execute method of connection object. Connection.execute create table, table name, these are the fields and data types. Here I am using for loop. This is the starting point of the loop. Next denotes end of the for loop. R denotes loop variable. 2 denotes start value of the loop. Here I define last used cell by using endXLF property of range object. In the data file, as data started from second row, I mentioned 2 here. After that, last row denotes 61. Thereafter, I am saving the values into the variable. To save the values, I defined 4 variables: item, quantity, price, zone. In the first variable, I am saving first column's value. R denotes row number. Upon completion of each and every iteration of the loop, row number increases by 1. Column number always constant. Now item is equal to apple. Quantity is equal to 500, which is second column's value. Price is equal to 45, which is second row and third column's value. Zone is equal to north, which is second row and fourth column's value. Here we can cross check. Thereafter, I am going to insert these values into the sales table. For this purpose, I am using execute method of connection object. Insert into sales values. Here I mentioned variables which is defined previously. Now let us cross check the status with the SQL database. Here we can find sales table created with single row of data. Upon completion of each and every iteration, R value increases by 1. At the end, application going to add 1 row to the SQL database. Place a breakpoint here. Press F5 to complete the looping process. Let us cross check with SQL database. Press F5. Now we can find all the rows are inserted into SQL database. At the end, application returning confirmation message as data exported from Excel to SQL database. Click on OK. Thereafter, I am closing the connection with SQL database. For this purpose, I am using close method of connection object. Next, I am nullifying the connection variable. Next, I am closing the data file workbook. Next, I am nullifying the worksheet and workbook variables. In this way, we can export the data from Excel workbook to SQL database by using VBA macros. Hope this video is useful to everyone. Thanks for watching.